Hey, everybody. Wow, this is Dominic DeAngelo of, where am I at now? InsideTheRopes.com and several other outlets, ad-free shows. But I'm here on the Premier Streaming Network for episode 3 of One of a Kind with none other than RVD. Rob, thank you. How's it going, man? Good to see you this evening.
Hey, happy, whatever day this is.
Whatever day this comes out on,
Right.
we're having a good time.
Yeah, everything's awesome. Everything is busy like always, dude. Glad to do this. I was looking forward to it. Man, I should probably turn this light on though.
I'm digging it. You can do it.
It's that time of day here, 7 o'clock, where it's going to be getting darker, and pretty soon I'll be. You ever seen Rene Dupree's podcast?
Yes. I don't remember. Cafe Dupre, is that what it's called?
Yeah. I like watching. I've been on there a few times. Of course, those are the best episodes. But
right.
One of the best things is that Rene just doesn't give a fuck. Like sometimes half his face will be shown.
I've seen that, and he's like walking around doing this show.
Sometimes he'll be like out in the backyard where it's dark and you can't even see anything, and it's I get a kick out of that. I always have.
I think I saw the one where he had Dango on there, or Dirty Dango on there.
Yeah. I like that dude. Good dude. Yeah,
he is a real good dude. I have to ask, I forgot to talk to you about this before we recorded, but the news. Did you ever have superstar Billy Graham just passed away? Did you have any interaction with him?
No, I didn't know he passed away. I mean, this morning I thought it was still that he was on life support.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. And then I was just checking social media right before we were recording, and I totally forgot to talk to you about it. Yeah,
that sucks. My interaction with him was he was the eulogy reader and conductor of Eddie Guerrero's funeral.
Really?
So during that whole presentation, he was up there on the microphone, and I had my evil ex with me at that time, who later was diagnosed with cancer, and Superstar reached out to us. I can't remember how it was, how he reached out, but we got a message from him that he was praying for. I just thought that was really cool for him to go out of his way to say that and to do that, because I had only met him that one time, and he got the news that, like everybody did, I guess, of her diagnosis, and it just stuck out in my mind. I can't remember. Maybe it was on
Facebook or something.
MySpace. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Oh wow. So I didn't. Was he close with Eddie?
I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I don't know.
Man, wow. I would have never guessed that, but man, yeah. I mean, the career he's had, it was just like he set the precedent for a lot of the guys like Jesse Ventura, Hogan. Like,
I can't tell. I don't know how many guys I've pointed this out to over the years. People that don't know a lot about wrestling history. I would point out Hulk Hogan and Jesse Ventura, and I'd say, see how both of these guys took superstar Billy Graham and they just like both like ripped him in half and went, like took different parts of him and became. That's exactly what happened. And so many times over the years I've done that, including, showing Katie, on YouTube or whatever, looking that up. That's really sad to hear.
Yeah, I know. And he obviously went through his struggles and things like that, but, very optimistic and was kind of, engaging personality, obviously. So, yeah. So, I mean, we covered a lot of movie talk and gangster talk last week. And usually my head goes into wild different things. You're talking our thoughts about like Bad Bunny being on and certain things like that, how you would certainly handle, especially if you were in competitive mode, how you would interact with some of the talent there if they were celebrities. It got me thinking. I start thinking about wild stuff. If you could pick any celebrity, you had to fight them, you just wanted to rough them up, who would you go with? Is there somebody that sticks out that you'd be like, I would like to give a couple 1 and 2s to them,
Before being asked, of course not.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous thing for me to want, I think.
Right.
It's a weird fantasy. Thinking about it. But when you open up that part of my mind, I did participate in Hulk Hogan's championship celebrity wrestling. I don't know.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. It was a little TV series, and celebrities were being trained to be professional wrestlers, and then they would compete and get voted off one by one. It was, yeah, it was kind of a ridiculous show, but Dennis Rodman, he's been around the wrestling scene, but besides himself, screeched by the
Dustin Diamond. Yep.
By the bell, you know what I mean.
I remember this now. Yeah, it's charging up my brain. I remember it. Mm-hmm.
Tiffany was one of them. And,
really?
Willis from Different Strokes. Yeah. Danny Bonaducci.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually really good. He actually is really good.
Nice.
So anyway, I did get in the ring with some celebrities and do some wrestling because my participation was one episode. I was teaching the importance of having a finishing move and having them come up with one and own it, develop it, stuff like that. So that comes to mind, But as far as wrestling, a celebrity, yeah, I can't really.
No preference.
My brain doesn't really think that way.
You're right. Mine goes all over like that. I guess it's just like watching fighting and sports.
Who would you want to see me wrestle?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question, man. From a cool celebrity standpoint, let me think here.
I can tell you, if it could be just anyone in history, I would name a politician, maybe like Harry Anslinger, so I could beat the shit out of him. And
dude, there'd be so many politicians that want to beat the shit out of.
Hey, that was me. I did it with my heels. Hey. My heels banged the floor.
Man, I'm trying to think. I think just off the top of my head, wow. Oh my gosh. Action star, definitely, I think.
Yeah. Well, how about Jean-Claude Van Damme?
That's what I was going to say, Jean-Claude.
That's not bad.
Sudden death era Jean-Claude versus modern RVD. I'd like it.
Yeah. Actors, yeah. He's cool, but I have a funny feeling that actors don't want you to know sometimes that if their size is inferior in real life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's one of those guys. And the very, very, very first time I almost met him, I was in line to get a picture with him, and the fans pushed me right to the front of the line.
Did they?
Yeah. And then they were chanting RVD while he was answering questions and stuff. And then he just cut it. Like his manager said, okay, we're going to, this is the last one, and just stopped it. And then later on I tried again, and his manager said he's not going to take a picture. He's not going to take a picture with you. And I used to think I don't want to hang that on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be just handler stuff.
So long ago, yeah. He said, why would he do something that's going to help your career, do nothing for his? And that's what he told my manager. His manager told my manager. But anyway, but I think he's cool. We have a mutual friend right now. But I do feel like when I think about wrestling him, because I'm bigger than most people think I am in real life, in the action stars, a lot of them are the opposite. You'd be surprised with a lot of people when they meet me in person that are like 180 pounds or so. They go, man, I thought we'd be the same size. And I've never added weight to my wrestling persona because I don't look more than my weight anyway. So even when I was like, 210 pounds, like people thought I was 180 pounds. So I wasn't going to say I'm 220 and try and add weight to it,
Right.
And I've always been around 230, up or down 10 pounds here, whatever, for the most part. But anyway, he's like 170 pounds or so. Did I tell you the story about the guy that played Punisher?
Tom Jane?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, well, this is really where a lot of this stems from. There's that autograph signing at the Shrine when he looked at me too, and then said, and his manager said, okay, no more. And their fans were like, no, one more, RVD. And then it got rude. But that was years ago. But so I was at the Comic-Con Wizards World in San Francisco several years ago when I had the comic book store. And I had a couple of guys from the store in my booth on the floor, Josh and Medium Rob, and they saw Thomas Jane walk by and they got excited. Ooh, he's the new Punisher. And they said, do you want to get a picture with him? And I'm like, sure, and so they ran up there and I saw them talking to him and he like looked back for a second and then he just kept on walking and they ran back. I was like, man, I thought maybe he said he'll be back by later or something, probably like a blow off like that. Like, yeah, I'll come back. They said, no, he looked at you and he said, is he taller than me?
What?
And Josh said that his answer was like, well, yeah, a little bit. And he went, oh, and then just kept walking.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, that's never been an issue with me because I'm shorter than everybody. So I'm like, I never really worry about
actors are all about their image, though.
Yeah.
Wrestlers are too, but maybe even more so with actors because wrestlers you see performing live sometimes, but actors just live on that little screen.
On that screen, and you can obviously smoke and mirrors can make you look,
however you want
it, whatever, man.
Do that.
That's some wild shit. So something that's coming up, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. We talked a little bit about it last week was the Dark Side of the Ring. They announced season 4 and all the episodes. And so I wanted to kind of run down just what the episodes were and if your kind of relationship or anything that you might have a connection with any of these wrestlers or stuff going through. So
by the way, does that bother when that vent kicks on? Does that fuck up the audio?
It's not bad. No, it doesn't bug me.
Last week, okay, we'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll get some good feedback, I'm sure.
Right. But by the way, I filmed with Dark Side of the Ring yesterday.
Oh, did you? Okay, cool. It's been going good
for an episode that's not listed on this season. So I'm guessing there's one more season, and then maybe that's it because. I just heard Vice after I left yesterday. Katie told me that Vice is going.
They're going bankrupt.
I didn't even know. Like they mentioned a few things that made sense once I knew, but I just thought they meant the show was going off the air. I didn't realize.
I wonder if there'll be another carrier or distributor for it. I don't know, like moving forward or something.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Well,
I really like Vice. That was a really good channel that really got behind a layer or two of the bullshit.
They got some good documentary stuff on there, not just wrestling stuff related to.
Yeah, they got a little deeper into real world stuff, without a few of the filters that are usually there when you're watching the other channels.
You're watching anything mainstream and stuff, yeah. All right, so they're starting off season 4 here with up to 2 people you do know, Chris Candido and Tammy Sytch. Did you have a pretty good relationship with Chris?
I would respectfully say so, just because he's passed and because there wasn't any like huge issues. But really, it wasn't. We weren't that tight, and there was some friction.
Yeah.
I always thought the friction was because I didn't fuck Tammy. And that's the only thing that I could think of. I didn't put her over, and everyone else did.
Yeah,
and she would be super flirty. And I was, at that time, married and faithful. Tammy looked great, but it was like I know nothing's gonna happen with that. And it's kind of a turn off that she's had every other one of these boys' dicks in her mouth. But anyway, that's just personally. But she would, be like really flirty all the time. And I think maybe that's why he and I can't even describe the friction right now because I can't remember. That's why I don't think anything really specifically happened. I can't remember how it was, but it was always a little rough because Sabu and him got along really tight.
Oh, yeah.
Usually when Sabu's tight with somebody, that would be all it takes for me back then. and then, boom, come on in. We're all on the same clique. We're all good. But with him, there was, I don't know why. Now that I think about it, I met him my very first fucking USWA match in way back in
93-ish?
91, dude.
Wow.
In 91, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Even before ECW, way before.
Way before. Yeah, this was blue trunks, white boxing boots, short blonde hair, Rob Zukowski. And it was the first territory ever that I got to work, USWA, where we're working on a loop in Saturday mornings in Memphis, Saturday night is in Nashville, Sunday, it was either house show or Arkansas, and then Monday was back in Memphis, Tuesday was Louisville, Wednesday was Evansville, Indiana, and there was this loop, and Thursday was Dallas, but they stopped doing that right when I got there. But that was the first time I'd ever got to do that. I'd only been working about a year, had about a dozen matches or so before I went there. And my very first match was at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And I was wrestling Chris Candido. He'd been there for a little bit. He'd been there for a few weeks before me. And our dressing rooms were on opposite sides of the building. So we couldn't spend a lot of time together, get to know each other before the match. And Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony, he would tell me this later on after I got over. He would always bring this up. He would say, man, we thought that was so funny to put you guys out there, the first match of the whole night, and have you guys go Broadway, which meant go to the time limit.
Yeah.
Sabu's joke is, they said he's going Broadway, and RVD said, I'm going to be, I'm going Hollywood, New York. And that's the way Sabu puts it. But Tony Anthony always said that he thought it was funny to put us out there and tell us to go 20-minute time limit because we were both green, and they never seen me. And here I am coming in, like, oh, I'm a kickboxer and this and that. And I'm one of the Sheik's boys. Anyway, I wrestled Chris Candido that night, and we went to time limit. And it was a great match, and we pulled off all kinds of stuff, walking the ropes, bouncing off my legs. I remember a lot of parts of it, but Tony Anthony later, when he would bring that up, he said it was a sellout at the curtain, man. We were all watching, and we all expected it to be funny, and you guys tore it up, and you guys had the best match of the night. It was crazy. But that's when I met him. He rode with us one time, not full time during that USWA route, but I remember him riding with us and staying in the hotel room with us when you had to pull the mattress off the bed, and I'd sleep on the box spring and would split it. We already had 4 people. With him, it was a 5th, but he did a loop with us, and I met him way back then. And in ECW, there was one time that sticks out in my mind where we were doing a promo where I'm walking in the building and they're walking out, or vice versa, and we're passing each other carrying the little rolling bag or whatever, and when they walked by me, they wanted me to grab Tammy's ass. That was the deal. And Chris gets mad, and then we have some words or whatever, and we'll settle it in the ring tonight, one of those things.
Yeah, a little thing there.
Yeah. And so I just thought, I'll work it. The camera's not going to know, whatever. And we went by, and I just lightly, patted her on the ass and turned, and we did it. And they were like, cut. Anyway, Tammy comes up, but she says, I couldn't even feel it. I couldn't even feel his hand on my ass. I'm like, when you grab it,
when you punch it,
squeeze it, and I was thinking, she's always wanting me to put over her advances, and I never do. And so this is a chance, for, okay, I get it. But just like when Sandman told me to lay it in the first time I ever gave him a kick, I wanted to try to make her regret it. That's,
right. You want me to grab your ass?
Yeah. I walked by them, and I just I squeezed that hard as I could, deep, hard, really hard, till they turned around and she screamed, which was supposed to, and then Chris went on with, what happened? Did you touch her? And we went on with the promo, and I never talked to her about it afterwards. Maybe never thought about it till just now, but that was pretty funny.
Seek and ye shall receive.
Yeah. Looking back, though, I respect his body of work.
Oh yeah, he was amazing. Like it
Yeah.
was, I was very young, like still at that point, so wasn't certain of the ins and outs. But looking at his work looking back is amazing. Like, so yeah. Oh man. All right. I'll just look at a couple more of these ones with you. Bam Bam, obviously, Bam Bam Bigelow is one of the episodes that they got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys had some pretty good history, right?
Yeah, lots of respect for Bam Bam. I was totally thrilled to work with him because he was such a big star, and I just really respected him.
Mhm.
And one of the nights, I don't know if it was the very first night. I'd have to look at that chronologically to see if that would make sense. But one night when I was a kid, about to leave the house to go watch wrestling at the Kellogg Center, the local news had wrestling on because they were promoting the event. Small town, it's a
Sure,
big
yeah.
deal. Wrestling's coming, and they were in New Jersey at Larry Sharp's Monster Factory, and I saw Bam Bam Bigelow back then in the school, and with his tattooed head, and everything, and he just stuck out in my mind, like, wow. That's awesome. And I don't even know if I was writing to the schools yet. I think I started shortly after that, contacting wrestling schools and shit. But that I saw him way back then early, and then I knew, that he could hang in Japan, where, that's where the real tough guys would be, in New Japan or All Japan, and the really big tough guys too. Of course, I had some great matches with him, and one thing that I always respected, he was old school like me. Like he believed in receipts, and that really keeps everything in balance. And I love working with a guy like that because I'm often going to be like that, unless I'm really. It depends on the situation, But like with Bam Bam, especially because I got a reputation for being stiff anyway. So you got to go in thinking, hey, if he stiffs me, I'm going to stiff him right back.
Sure.
Or I'm just going to take it, But with Bam Bam, it was guaranteed. Like I was gonna eat something afterwards, and I love that. Like I remember hitting him with the chair one time. I went to hit him in the back, and the chair was a little taller, or his head was back a little bit. I caught like a little bit of the back of his head, bam, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna pay for that. And he just like boom, boom, just kicks me, picks me up, power bombs me through the table, folds it in half, boom, like a real violent like little moment. And then it was like, okay, now we can continue. I love that. Right. I love that. Yeah.
Now, how often did that kind of happen back in the ECW days with people giving receipts and everything? Was that a pretty regular occurrence? And was it still kind of like that too after, maybe in WWF and stuff too a little bit, or
I think it's circumstantial. I think it really depends on the wrestler. Like that's really like an old school kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I'm always saying when I got trained, the number one rule was protect the business at all times. And that's out the window now, and so now it seems to be safety first. I'm not from that school at all. So most of the guys that are trained by somebody that actually made their living back in the day when people, really, really got into the wrestling and looked at it as a fighting art and looked at these guys as combatants, instead of every fan thinking they could do it.
Yeah,
those are the guys, a lot of times they'll be like receipters.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not gonna forearm Bob Holly in the face without him hitting you back hard. You know what I mean? And then also it depends on a lot of times on your relationship with the guy you're working with. Like after you work with a guy, a lot of times, if it's like, look, I got him 11 times, you got me 17. It's like whatever. Sometimes, it mm-hmm. depends. It depends on the situation. By the way, you might find this interesting. Popped up in my head. Bubba Dudley. Mm-hmm. Bubba Dudley and I used to receide each other all the time. One of us would catch the other one, and then bam, the next thing was just going to be in there. I would catch him with my kicks a lot of times. And we got into this thing where me and Sabu were wrestling the Dudleys every night. We were doing like 3 or 4 nights a week. And every single night between me and Bubba, one of us would catch the other, and then the receipt would come, bam, and it would turn into a slugfest every single night. And the slugfest would be progressively, with each punch, building to a stiffer and more serious punch, to the point to where we're not holding anything back. And it would just be like bam, 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 motherfucker, bam. And we would do that every night, expecting the other guy to back out until one of us, would finally knee the guy in the stomach or whatever. We would do that though every night, straight on in the face. And we built a relationship through doing that. You know what I mean? We were so competitive. And like one night we got into it, bam, bam. And Bubba just grabbed the back of my head and he said, "Not tonight, Rob." After that, we like got along better,
Yeah.
Breaking through. Yeah. So
that's pretty great, because I was going to ask you, I was like, well, geez, did that build tension with you guys? But it's like more of a bonding experience in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Now I love Bubba, and we'll talk about that later.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? He's such a smart dude for the biz. Like I cover Busted Open Radio for Wrestling Inc. right now, and just hearing like his insight and how his takes are, it's like, dude, why don't people think about that stuff? It's like some of it's pretty uncanny for his mind for the business. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so as far as anyone else, there's Abdul the Butcher, Marty Jannetty, Doink the Clown, Adrian Adonis. Was Adrian Adonis somebody that you kind of followed around with at all?
No, our careers never crossed paths. I watched him growing up, and that's it.
No, he was kind of a neat personality. I know.
Same with Doink the Clown, I believe. I might have seen him at a few signings and stuff. I think
he was in ECW like briefly as like Born Again. Yeah, okay. Where Paul Heyman came up. I think it was Heyman, had him like kind of almost like the Joker in Batman, like the modern Batman, where he's just like almost like a clown, half face painted and all that stuff. And it was kind of a neat thing to kind of go in, but I don't think it really
sounds kind of cool. But yeah, Marty is one of my good friends. I got extra special kind of love for Marty Jannetty. Big heart. Big heart.
How did you guys run into each other?
The first time I can remember meeting Marty Jannetty, he doesn't even remember this, but we had a tag match in Aruba in 1995. Excuse me. In Aruba. This was for Eddie Mansfield. He booked the three islands, the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, and I was part of that. Hawk, the Road Warrior Hawk was there, Brutus Beefcake. His guys, Eddie's guys, which there was a group called IWF, which was out of Orlando. We filmed at Universal Studios, and all his guys, and then plus some other stars. I remember I worked twice and then got paid for 2 matches. I was stoked. I was so happy to be there. And then I was really, I'm 24 years old, so like really, young and green. And Austin Idol didn't show up. And so I took his place and wrestled Dick Slater in a singles match. And then I also had a tag match with Marty Jannetty against Mongolian Stomper and I believe Nuke-Ass Bob. And the ring was so horrible that right off the bat the veterans were like, let's get out of here and go to the floor. And so we dove out and fought mostly on the floor. That's the first time I remember meeting him, and he was always, when I lived in Florida and was young and coming up in the business, I was hearing about him. He was always around, but I don't remember ever seeing him. Although I've been to his house when he wasn't there, it was for some reason, but everybody knew him. I think him and Shawn Michaels had a party house there. I don't remember when I bonded with him. I think it was like maybe it was overseas trips for the Ireland guy, AWR, it used to be Rampage. Mm-hmm. I think when Marty was booked on there and we rode the bus and then spent a lot of time together, I think that's really when I bonded with him and learned that we're kindred spirits in a lot of ways. Because when I talk to him, I could talk to him for 20 minutes. There won't be one serious thing said the whole time. Right.
Yeah, just fucking just busting balls and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, one after another, and think you're going into something, and you're really not. It's a hook and it's just a swerve. You're really going in to say something stupid, punchline, and hey, can I be serious? No, for real, man. I heard someone talking about you. I want to ask you this, man. Hey, do you have animal porn at home? Whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's just to shock each other or get a reply, but there's never anything serious. Like every time I talk to him, but I'm always happy to hear from him.
Dude, you need those kind of relationships too. It's just like it balances shit out when things get taken too seriously or whatever. You're like, I need guys like that in my life.
I'm known to leave some lengthy voicemails when I leave them, and Marty responded in kind. So that's a lot of our relationship is just voicemails. I can play you probably 4 right now. They're 2 minutes a piece. Yeah,
that's fantastic. I see. I never would have guessed that you had a relationship with Marty at all.
Like,
wow. How about that?
Yeah, he's a good guy. I see him at the WrestleCons, and when I can hang out with him, I do.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we started a new segment last week. It's called Guess the Gangster. If you're not familiar, Rob is very well versed in the mafia history and everything like that. And so it's a learning experience for me because I don't know any of these guys. So what I do is I go and I try to find a gangster, try to see if I can stump him. But I altered the thing a little bit here this week, Rob. So what I'm going to do is
gotta be someone that's had some kind of report on him, like either in a book or documentary or something.
I think I got a pretty good one. So what it'll be the mugshot, but it will also be some like statistics almost beside them, some little notes. So, okay. So here it is. Guess the Gangster, everybody.
Let's give it a try.
And then let's see what you can do here.
Oh, that one's easy, dude.
That one's easy. I figured.
You went from like really, really hard to like
this a layup.
Super easy, yeah.
Okay. Born in Italy. Yeah. Lucky Luciano appointed him. Was this Murder Inc.? Was that what you were talking about last?
Yeah, I came up with it later in the night. Murder Inc. Damn it, I was trying to think of the name of the. Yeah. Albert Anastasia ran Murder Inc. That was one of the things that he was going to be in trouble for, but they whacked him. Yeah,
they got him. And that's what I found fascinating was how he died, because they said that he was in the barber shop, right? And then the guy came in to kill him, and he started attacking him, but he was attacking the mirror.
Yeah,
and then they fucking shot him up, and he was donezo.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, and there's been different gangsters that have taken credit for that. A lot of traditional mobster lore says that it was Joey Gallo and Carmine Persico that pulled off that assassination. But I doubt that it is, after reading into it. I think it was some other Colombo guys, I think. But that's it's one of those unsolved murders. But traditionally, Joey Gallo and Carmine Persico get credit for that, because Joey Gallo did an interview afterwards and said, "You could just call us the what do you say, the whistling."
I saw that name. I think
something that meant a barber, not quartet, but something that means a barber, or I can't think of the word, but you call us the. Yeah, but anyway, right. But by the way, that's one of the most famous murder photos, is seeing him on the floor beside the barber chair with the towel wrapped over him.
Yeah, all kind of laid out and stuff.
That and Paul Castellano right outside of his limo in front of Spark Steakhouse. Those two, I think, are probably the most viewed mobster murder photos. But yeah, this dude was sick though. Albert Anastasia though, like he was. They call him the Mad Hatter. They called him a bunch of.
Yeah, I saw that on there.
Yeah, he murdered a lot of fucking people.
Well, they were saying, what's the one that they killed? He killed Vincent and Philip Magano. And
boss.
Yeah. And they assumed, it never got confirmed, but they were like, he probably killed him.
yeah. But he did. But he killed a lot of people. He was already in prison on death row when Lucky Luciano got him pulled out, and they started working together. He just thought that was a good recruit, and had the political power with the corruption back then to pull him out. And he was like one of the OGs with Frank Costello and Vito Genovese. He was one of the OGs.
He had a lot of ties, right? And then I think I was also reading too, like how was somebody trying to out him out of his own family or something like that? Is that true or something?
Out Albert out of his own family.
Yeah, out of his own family of something. Like he was kind of the head of the things, and somebody was trying to get him out of there too.
Well, I mean, eventually they did. I mean, that was it was the Mangano family, and then he got rid of them. So it's technically the Anastasia family during this time. You know, the 50s, 56, 57, and then when he got whacked, then Carlo Gambino became the family, and it's always been called the Gambino family ever since.
Oh, okay.
So Carlo Gambino and Vito Genovese, the way the story is told, they got together and kind of planned this murder on him, so to take over power because they were allies. And Vito wanted Luciano's family. Frank Costello was running it, so Vito Genovese tried to whack Frank Costello. It's a famous assassination attempt because the bullet like grazed his head. And then this was Vito Genovese when he was it was Vincent the Chin Gigante when he was younger, but he did it for Vito Genovese. Shot him, supposedly called his name first, said, Frank, this is for you. Fucked it up because then he turned his head, boom. But then in court, the way the story goes, Frank Costello wouldn't testify against the would-be assassin, but he got the message that he was going to step down. Vito Genovese took over the Luciano family at that point, and it became the Genovese family, which it still is today. And then they had to get rid of Albert Anastasia either right before or right after that happened. They were both in 57.
Yeah, 57. I saw that was the date for him. Like when he got
so they were, because they were tight, and then they were tight. So that's what happened.
Man. Man, I'm diving into it. I'm liking it, man. I gotta get what is it? The Frankie Carbo. What's the guy's book name? He was the
Frankie Carbo, the guy that ran boxing. Frankie Carbo and Pinky Palermo.
All right, that's the ones I have at the top of my list. So
yeah.
So what we talked about last week too was a new segment too with we're gonna like kind of do some random matches of viewers, and it kind of serendipitously worked out because the guy that wrote our press release for the show, he was tagged at me in a thing that said, "What about this match?" And so if I were to say the date, August, I believe it's 19th, 1997. Hardcore television. Do you kind of remember where I'm going with this one?
No, I mean the handful of matches comes to mind. I can't say which one was in August. I'm thinking when I won the title from Bam Bam.
It's in that ballpark for sure.
Wait, you said 97?
97.
I feel like I didn't have the championship till like 98.
That was later. So like you were doing, Bam Bam was involved. I saw in this one and in this match.
But was I television champion?
No, you weren't.
Okay, right. I misunderstood you then.
Yeah, that's okay. So this one with Tommy Dreamer and you in your first
Pittsburgh
with him. Yeah.
Well, no, that's November to remember. Shut up.
It was in Philadelphia, ECW Arena. You guys had first match. I think it went about like 20 minutes or so. Okay. And YouTube Chris helped me out with this, but he was saying that this was your guys' first match going in, and you ended up winning. After it was a really cool finish too that you guys had on there.
It's not the flag match.
The flag match?
Right. It's not that one, right?
No. It's not that one. So it's the one. Alfonso's gets obviously into it, and then Beulah gets involved, but then you guys finish it with a trash can, and you do the spin around leg drop, and then you pound your fist on top of him to get the pin. And it was a badass finish like that.
Was it?
Yeah, it was really bad because Sabu got involved.
I punched through to make the cover. I punched
you punched. So what you did is like you hit your spin around leg drop onto him because before you hit the 5-star. You hit the 5-star, but you kicked out. Yeah. And then you spun around, did the spin around leg drop, and then you punched down on the top of the can, and it was such a cool way to finish it off and everything like that. But I wanted to ask you, so Tommy at that time, he was kind of like the growing babyface, but it was so crazy to think. I even kind of forget too how good of a heel you were back then too, and because like just the way and what I want to ask is like, do you kind of attribute that to having the WWE ties plus having Bill Alfonso, or what else kind of made you such a good heel at that point in time, do you think?
Well, I came in as a heel with in '96 ECW because I was working against Sabu. And now you're talking about '97, and I'm not exactly sure if this is after my WWE.
It's right there because they were calling you Mr. Monday Night and all that stuff.
Okay, because that's when we had. Well, okay, so I was Mr. Monday Night for a while before that. Actually, that's why it was weird that Jerry Lawler got credit for naming me that because I was. But no, I got you. Okay, so that was after our first pay-per-view, Barely Legal, and then it was during this time then. And I think I don't know, was I still a heel from I came in as a heel, and I really don't remember how long that lasted.
You were still a heel at this point.
Yeah,
still the crowd was into you. So, like there's no denying that because like the crowd was almost split, it seemed like, because you would be doing a move, you would hit like the Van Daminator, whether it was in the corner or you would do there was something else that you did that got a pretty good pop.
Yeah. No, I got you though. Yeah, I was always an over heel.
You were always an over heel and stuff like that. But you could there were some good subtleties that you would do where you'd just like kind of talk trash a little bit to fans or to Tommy at certain points in time. And so it was kind of like bouncing out.
It's fun being a heel sometimes.
I
had more fun then than I did in TNA when they changed me heel, Impact Wrestling, recently, like a few years ago. But a lot of that was because I had Katie to worry about, and that changed my whole game. Just, worrying about her and having her parts down and everything. Like, I'd never before, like it was me and Sabu and Fonzie, it'd be like, sometimes I'd worry a little bit. Like, I hope Fonzie's got this timing down. I mean, he's got to be like right there. That would happen sometimes, but it's different. It's different when I feel like it's more my responsibility when it's Katie and a lot of times she'd be a lot more involved and she'd be nervous, then that would make that'd rub me off.
It would just it would be hard.
Yeah.
I was curious because that was a fun heel run for me, like watching it as a viewer with you and Katie, because it was like a different route that you guys took and everything. So I was kind of curious about that, if you guys had a lot of fun with that, or if that was a little bit more stressful for you.
It was both. It was both. It was fun. At the same time, I didn't do it long enough to really feel like I could master utilization of having her as my partner, So my experience being in the business, I was able to do some things, like having her there. But I really feel like to my wife, like we could have come across, like we've been fighting together always forever. But instead, these were our first time doing stuff like that. And also my body was hurt during that time. So I think about that, like almost my whole Impact run, almost like I had issues that are, for the most part gone now. And it's like, it was just like a temporary thing, but, and then also like, I never really knew what they were doing with me. Never really felt like they were going to get their money's worth out of me, get their money back for what they're paying me. And so every week when we would leave, I would expect it to be my last week. You know what I mean? And then I would say, bye, Scott Demore. All right. Hey, thanks for everything. And if he'd say, yep, see you next month, I'd always be surprised. Like, oh, all right. Well, I'll see you next month.
I remember
teasing me with mustache dude, the dick flipper.
Joey Ryan.
Yeah. Especially when they teamed me with him and stuff. I was like, I wasn't even going to pretend that I cared about that, So I figured I figured my character is just going to be real to me. And so, like, when they have a standing four in a line doing a promo, I'd usually be turned looking at them, just watching them, what they're doing and shit, you know, and acting like I don't give a fuck, because I didn't. I wasn't going to be like, yeah, I fucked 30 years of being one of a kind whole fucking show. I'm with Uncensored right here. You fuck with one of them, you fuck with me. You know, it was just like, dude, I'll go straight to the split up where we turn on each other if that's cool with you. You know,
right? Yeah, let's just get right to business on that one.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
It does. No, it does. With Tommy, like, did you cut when you were in the element of that? I know there's the competitive aspect of it that can be there, but like, could you kind of see him being like, was he like the big baby face? Do you kind of consider him in ECW at that moment in time? And did you kind of see more potential for him too when he went into WWE later on?
Yeah, Tommy was like the biggest baby face, I think, on both sides of the curtain. You know, the fans loved him and everyone loved him backstage that I know of. He would, you know, go from click to click and get along with everybody without immersing himself into their cultural habits. You know what I mean? He could go from the Coke click to the pot click to the drinkers to whatever and just talking to them, you know, and everybody just, you know, respected him. And he was, yeah, like when it comes to a family atmosphere, like he stands out as feeling like family, like a brother. And I think he has that effect, I think, like on everybody. You know, Sandman was a big baby face because he represented the fans, you know, the crowd. Right. And so he was super over too. They loved Raven. It was crazy over, you know, and that I was still trying to figure out. I never even heard the word grunge before I went there. And I was baffled by his followers, you know.
Were you?
Yeah, I was trying to understand. Yeah, like I didn't get it, but I'm not, you know, I'm not saying anything bad about him or anything. I'm saying it's
no, I know what you mean.
My position to be a promoter or to be a talent scout or whatever, and there's nothing about him. And I met him way back, you know, in WCW in '92. But yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't get the whole thing with him with his skirt or sitting in the corner or doing nothing, chilling, and the fans loving it. And yeah, I was learning all about that whole culture.
But that was kind of neat too, because like I was looking at that, and after the match happened and stuff like that, so like you came in, got the win. Sabu immediately came in and started beating the shit out of Tommy too. And then who came in to help him out? Oh,
boy.
Yep. And then Shane Douglas, you know, Triple Threat all came in, you know, and started beating the shit out of like Bam Bam and Candido. So they came to balance the scales out. Then the Dudleys came in, took over, and then New Jack came in. It was like a huge all out like schmoz that was going on basically.
Okay. Wow.
And but yeah, I mean, like, but it made me think about it. I was like, ECW had so many different diverse characters that were like from different cultures that you were like, okay, there's fucking New Jack there. And to your point, Raven wasn't in the ring, but Raven was a different guy that certain fans could get behind. You were a different guy that fans could get behind. And then Tommy was the heart, like kind of vibe of that all stuff. So it was, it made me think about like how like well, like, I guess represented ECW was basically.
Yeah, New Jack was a big baby face, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Crowd would go crazy when they would come out, and
they need to do that more. Like just the fact that the music still played when he was coming out and shit like
that.
Right.
That was cool.
That was so fucking cool. Yep. So, all right, Rob. We got time. We'll do a couple of the Ask RVD questions we got. So, a courtesy of Instagram, a wrestling historian actually helped me out with this. So let me start here. Oh, go ahead. You ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and spark up and then already be smoking, rolling into our
rolling into our videology at the end here.
Okay.
All right. So Josh Perez asks, and you mentioned being just at the what is it? The adult the adult convention, right? What was it called? Exotica. So this kind of might tie into something maybe.
All right.
Josh Perez asks, the weirdest thing a fan has ever asked you to sign.
Man, it's a great question. I wish I kept better track of some of the things that stand out. What did I sign? I signed something recently. Maybe it was at the Exotica. I think I signed something at the Exotica, and I remember specifically saying I've never signed one of these before. And I can't remember if it was if it was a dildo or a fleshlight, like one of those gimmicks.
Fleshlight, oh my God.
I can't remember what it was, but a lot of people will hand me grinders and say, "You ever signed one of these?" Like all the time, dude. People hand me grinders. I've signed so many of them, and rolling papers. Sometimes they ask me to sign their skin. Someone asked me to sign her boob, this girl, and I was just like frozen by it because I didn't know what to do. I was like, I didn't know the answer, and it wasn't. And Katie was right there, and it wasn't because I thought she was going to get mad or anything. She wouldn't. I was just like, it was just so. I was like, "Are you going to get it tattooed? I mean, it's going to be like washed off later, so it's like not worth that much. It kind of devaluizes my signature. The only person that's going to see it is your husband when he's banging you later, and that's kind of weird. Like I was so I don't know. It's just I ended up like walking away. I was like kind of like broke for a second, like yeah, I really didn't know. Like
I remember too when we were in Rostraver, you were like great with everybody, and I remember the one woman came up with her like boyfriend or husband or something like that. She's like, "Hey, could you put us in a headlock?" And you're like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that."
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
And then I went over and I told her this. I said, I understand. I said, I was at a porn convention and I went up to my favorite porn star and said, "Hey, can I stick my dick in your mouth?" Same thing, right?
Right.
Right?
Same thing. It's
a picture of you. I got a picture of you holding my cock in your mouth. You don't have to suck it, just hold it there.
Tomato. All right. So this is a good question because I used to get mad at this. So I want to see how you felt about this. Did you ever get mad at Shane for doing the coast to coast when you were doing the Van Terminator? Did that bug you at all?
Never mad.
Yeah.
No, like when I saw it, it wasn't a positive stroke, it was kind of like, now everyone's going to think he created that move.
Co-opting it kind of thing.
So it was just like that, and I was the ones that know, but I was like, man, a lot more people are going to see him do it. And then since then, a lot of promoters and in WWE when I was there too, a lot of times they talk about me doing it and they say, when you get ready to do the coast to coast, which corner are you going to do it from? I'm like, no, I do the Van Terminator.
That's right.
I don't do the coast to coast.
I never heard. I was like, what the fuck's the coast to coast? I was like, it's the Van Terminator.
Yeah, but Paul gave it to him. And Paul gave him everything, like during the whole Attitude Era, everyone's like, how'd you feel about them ripping off all the ECW ideas? And for that, maybe this came up yesterday when I was doing the Vice thing about Paul. And they didn't even know. I was like, yeah, Paul was already there working with him way before we knew that he was. So having the bigger picture, it all makes sense now. We thought that they hated him and we all collectively, were standing against WWE and didn't realize that he was one of them.
How wild's that? All right. So this is a good one because we talked about your TV run and stuff like that. Were you upset about being unable to win the original ECW championship in the original ECW, or were you pretty happy with just having the TV title run and making that kind of your own thing?
Right. Scotty Riggs just texted me.
Did he? He's looking good. I just saw him on social media.
Picture. I remember him carrying me on his shoulders when I had to give up the TV title because of my broken ankle. That's what it was back then. Yeah, that sucked. I was having fun with the TV title. I didn't need the heavyweight championship. I wanted to make the TV championship mean the most in the company, and I was doing a good job at it because the fans wanted to see me the most a lot of times on the card and would chant RVD sometimes through the whole show until I came out. And I wanted to build the status up and the value of the television championship by having the best matches on the card, and that being associated with the TV championship. And then I really like the idea of Mike Awesome building up the heavyweight championship, so that we were like two pedestals that were lifting the whole company up. And then I wanted to someday, and I wasn't in a hurry to do it, someday, then meet head on.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in a hurry to do it. I thought maybe that was something we could really build for a while.
Oh, yeah. And what was really cool too about that, and like looking back at it in hindsight, is like makes you think about it even more. It was like those were the only titles, that was it. You had the tag titles, but then that was the only ones. So they meant so much, And then you holding that.
That's why Tad's got the FTW belt.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that was just a really cool added aspect to ECW that made it feel very special. All right, this will be the last question, then we'll get to the RVDology. Mike Whitaker asks, what current wrestler would you like to work with if you had the opportunity that you maybe haven't done yet?
I don't know, man. I have for years always just said whoever pays the most.
That's right.
Try to come up with a different answer, and my brain just doesn't think like that. I don't know, it's like I've been wrestling for over 30 years. That's a lot longer than my entire adult life, longer than I haven't been wrestling is what I was going to say. But it's a job. It's what I do, and I try to make the most of it no matter what. And so it's like sometimes I'm wrestling my friends, and I look forward to that because it's like a bonding experience.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it's my friend, that could mean it's going to be more fun. It could mean it's going to be stiffer. Usually it can be guaranteed we'll be on the same page, at least when we're out there and get the job done. And I don't have matches that are less than really good anyway. So there's that, but I don't really think about like, man, I could really tear it up with this guy. How about Hulk Hogan? He's not a current wrestler, I know, but when I was hanging out with him down in Florida, I asked him, I said, man, Hulk, a long time ago, you had said like if before I went to TNA in 2010 because he told me to come in there, right?
Yeah.
Like I knew at that time I was a hot commodity and stuff. But Hulk,
and plus you were talking too, like last 2 episodes ago, like Angle was making money there and like kind of showcasing a lot of himself there too. So
I was doing RVD radio, and Hulk called me on my phone, and I gave him the number to call the hotline, and he called and was on the show for a long time, putting me over, talking about why Impact needs me to come down there. And I was just like, I can't believe Hulk is humbling himself to do that to me, Like I was just, because Hulk's the god of wrestling to me, from growing up with it. And but so I brought that up when I was hanging out with him a few months ago and said, hey, you were saying like if you could build a company around me, you would. He goes, I would. I go, but you said that, but then I came into Impact, and then I don't know what happened, like at this point or something. And he was like, what? No. And I was like, what happened? Or you weren't really in charge there, or what went on? And he was like, I think he said he doesn't even remember, and I don't really remember either. Everyone had their own personal situation, so it's not like he was the boss running stuff, But anyway, he said something like, man, I wish I could have worked with you. I could have made so much money. And it was one of those things where he was like, stand up, lock up with me. It was like one of those things, which was, us being a couple of marks. But it went to my head, and I was thinking like, wow, Hulk Hogan told me that he could have made a lot of money working with me, and that I would have had to be the baby face. Like, that's incredible to hear him say that.
Oh man. Well, yeah. And that's the best kind of compliment you could get. Like I could make a lot of money with you,
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I think if you're as the baby face and he's the heel, it would totally be you guys could definitely work a good story and program. So no doubt about it. All right, Rob, it's time for I think our hit segment, and it is RVDology. It's time to enlighten one up for folks. You're already doing it, but
I got a little bit ahead of the game. Everybody spark up.
Everybody spark up. That's if you do it. To your point last week, I really factored that in throughout my week so far today.
I love it when you say this, dude. I knew you were going to say this. And I think it's probably an important part of the show that you are, for this, you are a result of RVDology. You're like, I know that
I'm a work in progress.
I know it's what's the right way? I don't want to say invaded. I know that it's interjected itself into your life, hasn't it?
It has. And it's funny because, all right, so Mother's Day was this past weekend. I was like, okay, I'll call my mom, wish her a happy Mother's Day, all that stuff. So I did. I was like, hey, Mom, happy Mother's Day. And then she was like, oh, she was thankful and all that stuff for it. My grandmother's still around too. She's like, oh, did you call your grandma yet? And I was like, no, not yet. I talked to her a couple days ago. She's like, oh, you got to call your grandma. And I immediately was like getting on the defense because like, I will call my grandma. I'm not going to not do that. You know what I mean? I was like, but I was immediately thinking about that. It's pride. Just don't think about that too much. And so it really helped me out. So it made me be aware of what I was doing exactly.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that's toxic energy that's unnecessary. And the way to deal with it, just like all of my principles that I elaborate on with RVDology, with all of them, you can apply them. Some of them you might think like, wow, it's too late. I was brought up this way. No, everybody needs to reprogram themselves as an adult. Santa Claus isn't real. And so you need to look at the world differently. Everybody does. And the best part is really just awareness, like you mentioned. That's key. That's the first step. And it is active. You just by being aware and that message going off in your head when it's happening, that changes your perspective. And that's what you want to do. If it makes sense to you, it changes your perspective. So, it's a growing process. It takes a long time and we're all still learning, and everything that I talk about, these are things that I learned a long time ago and that I apply today, but I'm always working on self-improvement, which by the way is subjective to everybody. So another reason why it's good for me to have my values out there, because there's things to you that are bad that I don't consider bad.
Right.
We talked about the different values and stuff. Sometimes people will say, I've gone 2 months without saying a swear word. Oh, okay, good for you.
Right, I don't care about that.
6 months without having tilapia fish. Like, what? I don't. It doesn't mean anything to me, but you're setting yourself a goal and going for it. It makes you feel good about it. Thumbs up. I'll support that.
Right. No, it's supporting your own thing and what you want to work on for sure.
Right. Yeah. So today I want to talk about that, about supporting and stuff. And really, I want to start this way. Like a lot of people, if you tell them, a lot of people would not ever even think about wanting to work on being a better person. There's a lot of people out there that are maybe they're just miserable. They're just into their day, whatever. They have reasons to be angry, whatever. They have no interest in bettering themselves at all. And if they asked, like, why should I be better to people, or why should I try and be a better person? Sometimes it's really hard to even have an answer. Like, why should it matter? Especially convince someone like that says we're all just going to live and then we're going to die and then we don't know, what's it matter after that. But I think I have a way to explain to people why it's good to be good. And it has to do with our natural makeup. Obviously, I'm a big advocate for individuality and arguing that we all have our own circumstances, our own agendas, our own values. we're all in our own places in life, etc. But I do believe as humans that we are all biogenetically made up to feel unfulfilled if we don't have love in our heart. I believe that that's true. And so I'm going to try to tell you some ways on how to get more love in your heart, because what you put out into the universe is what you get back. It really is. Maybe you've heard of it called the law of attraction. If you're just miserable to everybody, you're going to get miserable back, and you're not going to get any change, and you're locking yourself in to a position in life. Your actions do place you on the shitty life scale. They really do. And so the way the law of attraction works is what you put out there, that kind of energy, that vibration, and the vibration that you are experiencing during that action, that attracts more of that back to you. It has a lot to do with the frequency, and having love is the most positive, good energy that there is. Love comes in all kinds of forms. Of course, it's subjective to people. When I was a kid, the first time I thought that I was getting love was when people would say, "Ooh, Rob's crazy." I was just getting attention. I'd staple to my forehead or whatever I would do, being a stupid kid, and just having people go ooh and getting that attention. To me, like, that felt like love to me, because it was attention, and attention is a form of energy that can be translated as love, especially if you don't know what love is. Imagine the lonely person, the keyboard warrior that's hacking away all these negative, ugly comments, just trying to get a response. And then someone hits them back and they actually have communication, just that attention, giving them, someone communicating with them, even if they're talking shit, that can feel like love if there's like nothing else going on in their life. Trolls, by the way, are among the lowest forms of life that I know of. And what they do is the exact opposite of spreading love. To me, because a lot of people use trolling to mean different things. To me, when I talk about a troll, I'm talking about somebody that goes out of their way to try to make somebody feel lower about themselves.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about RVD on some gossip page and you're just saying, well, I think RVD sucks, I don't think that's trolling. I mean, you got your opinion, you're talking about me. If you tag me because you want me to actually see your comment and you think, he needs to know that not everybody loves him. You're trying to change my vibration because you think I feel too good. I feel too good for how you feel I should feel. So you're going to troll and get my attention and hope that I see it and that you bring my vibration down. Check yourself. That's a troll. And people do it online, and they also do it in real life. And they make comments just for that. They're hoping to bring the person's vibration down. And like I said before, if you're miserable, you're going to get misery back. And that's going to be where you live, in that world of misery. If that's good for you, then that's fine. But I got to tell you, I feel fucking awesome. I'm very fulfilled. I have so much love. And it was something that I had to learn about doing. We're talking about Bubba Dudley. And I said, I love the guy. If you would have asked me in 99, I probably would have said, fuck that guy. What? Where's Bubba? He's a dick. Devon's the cool one. And Bubba was a dick, and he'll tell you he was a dick. I think I was a dick. But that's part of growing, is looking back and cringing. And when it comes to trolling in real life, think about that when you talk to people. Like, what is your real purpose of saying to somebody like, you look like you haven't got much sleep, or anything that you just feel would hurt them, and that's what people do. They want to take your energy. A lot of times they'll go for an easy, sensitive spot. If you're black, they'll go with the N-word. Even if they're not like super racist, they just know how serious you're going to take that they know how serious they're being by using that, which maybe does make them a racist. But it's just like if you're a fat guy, someone's going to call you a fat ass. You know what's funny? People think they're putting me down if they call me a pothead. Like they'll tag me sometimes on social media and they'll be like, you need to quit trying to teach people stuff, dude. You're just a pothead. As if I don't choose to smoke myself, as if I was born a pothead and it's something that I regret and look at as a bad value. Of course I don't, but I use my values and they use their values, and they're obviously completely different. One way to spread love is on social media. Like on Instagram, I follow hot girls and I follow animals. I follow a lot of martial arts and fighting. I feel obligated to, if I stop and look at anybody, I give them a heart. I just feel obligated because I know what it's like to try to support, try to spread, and I know what they're looking for when they post. They're looking for likes. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you got mine. Almost always, like I have to break my rule. If I say, you know what, I don't have time, I'm going to scroll real quick through this. Otherwise, everyone that I look at, even if it's a really violent, horrible thing happening, I support them posting that so that I could witness that and have my eyes open to that ugliness in the world. And when I was married to my evil ex, there's no way that I could have given hearts to hot girls on Instagram. She was way too insecure. And because of that, I wasn't allowed to have that much love. I got no problem saying I love looking at beautiful females, beautiful to me, of course, but I always have. And that would bother her, even without it being a danger to her. She felt so threatened by that. She didn't want me. She wanted to put blinders on me, so I couldn't even look anywhere but down. And, anytime, like if I was talking to a diva too long and she saw it, oh my God, forget about it. I'd be hearing about it later. So because of all that, and I know a lot of people watching this are in a similar situation too. You got happy wife, happy life. I was contempt. I was complacent, I guess, and thought that was something just that we could always work on. She doesn't trust me enough. I'll just get her to trust me more. But I got to tell you, now I know the bigger picture. Holy crap. Like if I showed Katie, a hot girl on Instagram, if I was like, hey, look at this girl, do you follow her? She'd be like, no, she's cute. What's your name? I'm going to follow her too,
Yeah.
When I started actually talking to her about her friend Jennifer, I was like, how did I not know you have this cool of a friend? Like, she's so cool. She's hot, but she's obviously like really cares about you. Like, she's obviously one of your best friends. I can tell from your acting. I didn't even know about her. Like, what is this? And she'd be like, oh, Rob's got a crush. And it's like, she's so cool. And she gets it. And she encourages me to show more love and more support. And because of that, my heart has grown. Like, I have more room to love so many people that I didn't even know I loved. When it comes to all the guys I used to work with, or when it comes to if it's somebody that influenced me as a kid, whatever. Yeah, I love that guy. Like, I have more room overall instead of being competitive. One, from being a wrestler and wanting to fight for that spot, and two, trying to prove that there's nobody else important but the one person that doesn't believe it and will never believe it. But it makes such a huge difference. If a lot of people say they don't want love in their heart, they don't need love because they've had a broken heart. It hurts too much. They're not going to open up. I got to tell you, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
And what you're doing when you're complaining that it hurts too much is you're telling everybody what a pussy you are. So it takes time. Everything happens on its own course. But that's how I would look at bragging to everybody that you're hurt. And hopefully it's temporary because, Who wants to? Because you got it when you open it up and you allow more love in. Liking when I'm on YouTube, every video that I watch, if I stop and watch it, I give them a like. If it's somebody that I know on social media, I might give them even like a fire or one of these, and that's extra support because I think about that energy. I think about them looking at it and thinking like, oh, cool, RVD liked my comment, and like what that will do and how much energy. And that's about picking people up, trying to get everybody around you to vibrate at a higher frequency, not bring them down because you're down, but bring everybody up. And doing that brings you up. Mm-hmm. In the book, The Secret, it talks about, just telling a girl, if that's what it is, if that's one of the ways you get energy, telling a girl, well, do you appreciate her? Hey, that's a really nice dress, or I like your hair, or you look gorgeous today, whatever. Watch them lighten up. That lightens me up. Like seeing them lighten up lightens me up. And for most good people, that is the thing. You spread the love. You like the comment in real life. Whatever you can do to get behind somebody, especially if you see it makes them happy. I don't have to be into everything that Katie's into, or feel like there's a big distance and that we're different and that's not normal. You know what I mean? Like whatever music she likes or whatever, dancing, makeup, there's all kinds of things that make girls. There's colors that they wear, and there's all kinds of stuff that I personally don't have, but there's chemical reactions in my brain that draw me to a lot of that stuff. And you know what? It's natural. It's natural. In school, all my best grades had female teachers. Anytime I had a male teacher, I failed. And Katie has no problem with knowing that I enjoy women. I'm a big fan of it. And she knows that she's not in danger of it. And when we talked about it, I've told her, like some of the divas, like how are you not going to love them? They're so sweet. And Kitty's just like, yeah, of course. Like how are you going to like be hugging Kelly and she's so cute and she's such a sweetheart. How are you going to like not love that? Everyone had to love her and she gets it. And the difference is she's not insecure. Some people, this is going somewhere else. This is just looking down the road. Some people have insecure partners for a reason, because you help contribute to their status where they should be insecure about you. Not everybody, but some. But that's just something I just want to throw out there. But some people by nature are more secure, and some people are more insecure. And I find that the more secure they are has a lot to do with how loved they are. How much love we have is how fulfilled we are. We can still be unfulfilled, like in adventures, like, no, I really want to climb that mountain and I want to hike in that jungle. I'm not fulfilled until I get that. And we're going to talk about that on a different RVDology episode, on just that drive and fulfillment. But the one way to get more love into your life, and I recommend it, is to put more out there. And if somebody is harmed by that, then let's break down the reason. Like, why is that harming somebody?
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, that's perfect, because you think about, and like you being in such a positive relationship, you can exude that more out to other people too when you're in that, because Katie's supportive of you, you're supportive of what she does, even if you're not into it. And the aspect of you like finding that synergy with one another too, and being able to bring that out to other people, it's like that is the best of both worlds. And love, really, certainly, if you're loved, it certainly dissipates the insecurity that you have. And it very much does. And like, and even that aspect of like spreading out positivity where you're just liking something or, doing an emoji or something like that. It's just, you're giving out the positive energy, because social media is filled with all that negative energy too. It's just like, why be a part of that? Why be in the muck of all that and stuff?
And when I'm watching someone's YouTube video, I understand they posted it hoping to get more likes, hoping to get comments, hoping to get shares or whatever. So I feel obligated, even if it's just clickbait, and I click on it, I'm like, oh, you know what?
You got me.
I'll still, they got me. But you know what? good for you. I'll let them know it worked, and I'll click the heart. I feel obligated. Like I sincerely feel bad, and sometimes go back if I'm like, oh, I didn't get that last one, and I'll go back and click the heart. And that's just one of the easiest ways, to start people that are watching shows like this. Click the heart.
Click the heart. Like, yeah, subscribe.
Comment.
Well, great.
Like, and share it and shit, right?
Yeah, right. Like, share, do all that stuff. Give us 5 stars, all that malarkey.
But same thing in real life, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have the freedom to be able to express it because of being in insecure relationships and stuff like that, And I think that's what you're getting at is like with Katie, I can be completely, my evil ex didn't want me to be completely honest.
Right.
She wanted me to keep stuff from her because she was keeping stuff from me, and she didn't like hearing the actual honest truth. So she'd rather have it filtered. At least that's the way that it was. But I remember way back again in the RVD radio days, I did one show on being faithful, I think. Mm-hmm. And it felt like it made everybody uncomfortable. Like, am I the only one, that can have this conversation? I really felt like that. I felt like everyone, guests, call-ins, like everybody listening, I feel like they had some reason to feel guilty during that. And it was like, that is, that's hey, if you want to be status quo, you're status quo,
Right.
It's your actions that place you on the shitty life scale, the scale of shitty life.
Exactly. And you're going to, and it goes back to insecurity too, when it comes to a lot of that stuff. It's just like, that always has something to do with it. And if you're looking to do, kind of build yourself out and, you got to force yourself through that insecurity, and
you'll see like if you're the guy that's really nice to everyone, spreading positive energy, chances are they're going to like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are going to have good things to say about you, and then they're going to lift you up, because they'll be like, who? Oh yeah, man, that guy's really cool. I don't know him that well, but he's always really nice. And man, that's a start. That's a start. People that say that they're you say they're most happy when they're unhappy. Mm-hmm. Realistically, that doesn't make sense. They're never happy,
They just, that's they need help. That's the aspect.
Well, they're unfulfilled,
Yes.
Yeah. I can't tell anybody what they need. I can just tell them, in my opinion, what would help them in my ways. And as you know, if you do your own way, go get them tacos. Fuck it.
Right. Right. Find those moments. Well, cool. This is always neat, I think, for me. And I hope everybody watching either on Premiere or listening to us via podcast, that we're something you need. So, hey, tune into us. Like Rob said, go to rvdpod.com. That's right to our YouTube channel where you'll get exclusive clips and all that stuff. Follow RVD at The Real RVD. You can follow me at Dominic DeAngelo. And hey, give us some more feedback. We're interested to hear. We just made the big announcement, but this is episode 3 that you're hearing. So hit us with Ask RVD and get some questions in. We're up for whatever. And Rob's always ready to answer. So cool, Rob. It's been a good one this episode.
Right on, man. Hopefully next week when we talk, you're going to be telling me how you thought about spreading love and how that interjected itself into your week and shaped it into a better week.
Absolutely. I definitely will utilize it for sure. It's good stuff. And you guys utilize it too. Tell us your stories too if you have some about it. Be sure to get your input and everything like that. So, all right, guys. We'll see you next week here on One of a Kind with
Peace and love. Peace and love.